Hello, Mac here, and today I'm going to talk about how Rockstar can balance the assault rifles in GTA Online. Now, this is an episode in my series called How to Balance GTA 5, and this is a series where I will be talking about how Rockstar can balance a lot of the different weapon classes in GTA Online, and in this video we're going to be talking about the assault rifles. So, the assault rifles in GTA Online are pretty much the most used class, I would say, for the most part. I mean, there are some weapons that get used quite a bit as well. But for the most part, people, they take their pick of the assault rifles just because they are so versatile. And it's probably, at the same time, the most one-sided class in the entire game. And that's because the advanced rifle just does everything that the other assault rifles do, but better. There's no assault rifle that does anything that the advanced rifle can't. So, it is very one-sided to the advanced rifle, and that's why that is the best assault rifle in the game. So, but it's one of the easiest that they could balance, because you have 5 different weapons, and each of them could have their own different role, which is what I want to try and succeed at with this video. So, also one other thing is that the assault rifles, I'm going to try and make them relatively longer range, more accurate weapons, rather than like the SMGs, which are just close range weapons. There are a few exceptions in here, a few more close range assault rifles, but for the most part, you want, longer range, more accurate rifles in general. So what I'm going to be doing is first off with the assault rifle. Now, assault rifle has a current DPS of 210, making it quite bad because it has a low damage, a bad spread, and a pretty terrible rate of fire. So what we're going to be doing is actually increasing the damage to 42. I was a little torn on this because it is quite a high damage. But since it has that slow rate of fire of, I believe, 0.158, which is what it had beforehand, I think that's a pretty good rate of fire. So we're going to be keeping it the same way. And the spread is going to be at 3.50, which, if I'm correct, it used to be 3.50 as well. So it's just going to stay the same spread. I was thinking 4, but I'd rather have, 4B for, higher rate of fire weapons than one that's a high damage. And also, what we're going to be doing is also changing the range to 40 to 120, which I believe would actually be the same as we had before. So pretty much this weapon doesn't have too many changes from what it was before. The rate of fire is the same, spread's the same, and what this weapon really changes is the damage. And I know it's kind of weird because, well, the assault rifle is is the first weapon you unlock, the first assault rifle that you unlock. But since we have the DLC weapons and such, I don't feel like that's an argument that you can give in place, because a high damage weapon is a pretty powerful weapon. This weapon would be pretty powerful if somebody, with the right hands used it. If somebody, knew how to control the weapon. And since it has slow rate of fire, I felt like on one hand it's a very powerful weapon, but at the same time, it is, the first assault rifle you unlock. But I don't know, I just feel like since we have the DLC weapons that you can unlock at rank 1, I don't feel like that's a good argument anymore. So this would also have a new DPS of 294, and moving on to the Carbine Rifle. Now, the Carbine Rifle has a current DPS of 256, and what's actually funny is that this weapon will pretty much stay the exact same, or at least DPS-wise. So the new DPS is going to be 256. And the damage is going to be 32, spread is 2.0, range is 45 to 110 meters, a little bit different in the range and the spread department, but the damage, rate of fire, all is that the same. And what I wanted to do with this weapon is make it a super accurate weapon. That's pretty much what it is. I didn't feel like I needed to change too much with this weapon, because it's already a pretty powerful weapon if you want like an accurate weapon. So I thought, 2.0 spread, maybe that'd be a little bit too much, because if you go into accurate mode, and if you zoom in, it wouldn't have really any spread at all. So, I mean, there's that, but I just felt like something that's a super accurate type weapon, I feel like this would, it needs to stand out from the other weapons, right? So, that's why I decided to put a 2.0, and none of the other assault rifles you will see have even close to that type of spread. So, that's why I wanted to make it a super accurate weapon. It has a pretty low DPS compared to the other ones, and you will see that later. But the new DPS is going to stay the same just because, the rate of fire and the damage is the same, but, just the best part about this weapon is the very tight spread. So next, moving on, is to the Advanced Rifle, which is currently the best assault rifle in the game, with a current DPS of 306. And what we're going to be doing with this weapon is sort of making it a close range type weapon, closer towards, say, an SMG, but still keeping the assault rifle properties. So this will have a damage of 28 with a spread of 3.50, the same as the assault rifle. It's also going to have a range of 30 to 70, a pretty terrible range for the assault rifles, but the true power with this weapon comes from the fire rate, which is 0.105. And I feel like that would be a very, very nice weapon, just because it's a more, high rate of fire, close range weapon. Also, the new DPS will be 280, which is actually a worse DPS than before, but that's just because, it just already was the best assault rifle in the game. I felt like maybe changing the DPS to a little bit lower would have been, it isn't actually that bad of a change. So next is moving on to the Special Carbine, which has the exact same DPS as the Carbine Rifle, because the Special Carbine is the exact same as the Carbine Rifle. So this has a current DPS of 256. What we're going to be doing with this weapon is sort of making a jack-of-all-trades assault rifle. Since it's, for a lot of people, the first assault rifle, I feel like this would be a very nice change. And it's a lot of people's favorite assault rifle. I'm not sure why, but, it is, a lot of people's favorite assault rifle. So I felt like making it a, just sort of not amazing in any particular category, just a good, average, reliable, consistent type weapon. So it will have a damage of 36 with a rate of fire of 0.130. A little bit faster than what it had before, which was 0.135. And it will have a spread of 3.0. Pretty much just, average. And you also have a range of 40 to 100. Average, pretty much. With a new DPS of 288. Which is also very average. This weapon is just very average across the board. Nothing particularly amazing about it. It's not anything where you're going to expect this weapon to excel in anything good, I guess. It's just sort of an average weapon, because it is a lot of people's first weapon. A lot of people, I feel, since, even though assault rifle is the lowest rank, technically, I just feel like this, giving it a good medium range, a good sort of average type weapon was a good idea. Next and finally is the bullpup rifle with a current DPS of 288. Now what I would change to this weapon is make a damage of 34 with a rate of fire of 0.145, sort of in between the Carbine Rifle and the assault rifle, with a spread of 2.50 and the range of a 60 to 150. An amazing range, and that's where this weapon really excels. It has a pretty terrible DPS of 238. If you want a really good medium to long range weapon, this is your type of weapon that you want. The bullpup rifle is what you want, and that's why I feel like this weapon could excel at just longer ranges. It has a kind of average damage. It has a pretty terrible rate of fire. It has a pretty good spread, I guess. But, the accuracy and the range is what this weapon excels at. And that's why I feel like this weapon would actually be pretty competitive at those longer ranges, which GTA does have quite a bit of those, especially, like free mode and stuff. So that's how I would balance out the weapons in GTA Online, with the assault rifles. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Also, if you want to go check out any stats that I used for these weapons, there will be a link in the description to some websites that will take you to those stats. Also, if you want to go check out some other episodes in this series, How to Balance GTA 5, there will be links in the description. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Would you balance out the weapons, like I did? Did you think that they were good? How would you change the way I balance out these weapons? Let me know that in the comments. Hope you all enjoy. Feedback is appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.